Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are keeping well. Day one without football. It's a bit different, isn't it? I don't know if I like it, and there's still at least another 3 weeks to go. For betting purposes today, I had to dive into the Hungarian and Siberian leagues, so that was interesting. My knowledge on Hungarian football is expanded ever so slightly, which was always going to happen considering my knowledge was nil beforehand. Anyway, COVID-19. For it to get 19, you have to assume Roberto was the goalkeeper of the other team. But this video is about Karren Brady's column, essentially tied into a little bit of what's going on with football. I'm staying away from the health politics and stuff. I don't know enough. I know a little bit. I know a little bit about it, but I'm not going to get into it. It's not what I want to do. I want to talk about the football only, the repercussions for football. Now, I'm aware health obviously takes priority over football at all, and at the end of the day, it is just football. But it's a West Ham channel. What else are we going to discuss about football in here? And Karren Brady's column today is very much tied in to the impacts of what the coronavirus could have on the Premier League specifically. And to cut a long story short, she basically says that with football, Premier League football suspended until the 4th of April, she says that it's on top of the issue that COVID-19 is so highly contagious, the thought that everyone will be in and out of isolation and fit to play on April 4 seems so unlikely. Agree with her thus far, and I think most of us will, to be honest with you. So she goes on to say, so what if the league cannot be finished? And she says, this is her opinion here, as games in both the Premier League and the English Football League are affected, the only fair and reasonable thing to do is declare the whole season null and void. There's obviously a bit more to that, but you can go read it if you want. I'm not going to read out the whole column here. Yesterday it came out that there was two Premier League clubs. They believe two Premier League clubs. Basically, when the Premier League announced on Thursday night it was going ahead as normal prior to the Arteta news coming out, that there was two Premier League clubs saying, hang on a minute, no, we're not happy with this, let's just null and void the whole season. And yesterday's rumours were that Spurs and West Ham were those two teams. Karren Brady's column is essentially confirming that we indeed are one of them. I'm surprised there's not more teams, to be honest with you. I'm surprised there's not more teams wishing for the season to be scrapped. Why would Norwich City not want to? I guess their worry is that the league would still try and relegate three teams, and obviously West Ham is Norwich is bottom of the league, so they go down, whereas West Ham are outside it. So it's a bit different for Karren. She's okay if it gets cancelled now. Whatever scenario plays out, West Ham should remain in the Premier League next season. But it's not as straightforward as that, is there? There's always going to be winners and losers regardless of what they do. It's getting to the point where you have to assume it's going to be a struggle to get this season finished. I think Euro 2020 is going to become Euro 2021. The meeting's on Tuesday with UEFA. Obviously Champions League and Europa League's now postponed for now. I'll be surprised if they finish. But I think the competitions in European football are a bit different to domestic league. There's no clear and obvious winner of the Champions League. There is in the Premier League. Liverpool are 2 wins away from winning it. They're going to win the Premier League, okay? In the Champions League, Europa League, no such thing. Is it a shame for those that have got so far in the competition? Of course it is. You know, if you're speaking just for the English League, Wolves fans would be gutted. I think they're in with a good shout of winning the competition. Obviously, City will fancy their chances at progressing in the Champions League as well. So it'll impact them. But I think Europa League's already compromised. Getafe and Roma couldn't fulfil their fixtures on Thursday. So the Europa League is already impacted due to the coronavirus. So I think getting that out of the way then frees up the rest of the calendar between now and what should have been the end of the season in the middle of May. It's now freed up for domestic football and domestic competitions only. I think domestic cups are going to have to be scrapped pretty much, and it's simply a case of can we get the league football finished in time. What is in time? And I think there's a Premier League meeting on Thursday. There's another Premier League meeting on Thursday. I think it's a phone call meeting though, and this is Karren's very much putting her cards on the table already as to what West Ham's opinion is going to be. But it'll be interesting to see, because I think they need a deadline. I think they need a deadline as to when the Premier League must be finished by, whether it's the 30th of June or something, because legally the players have all got 4 weeks holiday to take as well, and that has to be put in somewhere. Usually it's the month of June, isn't it? They normally get June off. If you play the Euros, you then come back and you have your 4 weeks off before starting pre-season again. There's big repercussions. No one knows where the end in sight is. But I think they need a deadline for the Premier League. And if they get to that date and it's not complete, something needs to be drawn up in plan. I think this is what they're trying to do. There's a couple of interesting proposals. One of them is that the 22 clubs next season, one proposal is that they promote West Brom and Leeds to the Premier League, and then next season there's either 5 relegations, 5 teams go down, or there's 4, and the following seasons there's 4 teams go down again, so that it would be 21 teams in the Premier League the following season, and then back to 20 as normal. I don't think you can simply stop the Premier League today and say, right, Liverpool, you're the title winners, Norwich, Villa, and who else is in the bottom 3 with them? Bournemouth are bottom 3, aren't they? You 3 go down. You can't do that. It's not right. Because they could stay up. There's long enough in the Premier League to go. So I don't think that's the option. I don't think that's the right thing. However, if you just cancel this season, there's going to be a lot of legal implications for the English Football League and the Premier League, because West Brom, Leeds, I imagine if Leeds don't come up this season, they could lose Calvin Phillips. They're arguably their best player. They might very well lose their manager, but if they were to get promoted, which they're in a very good position to do so, they won't have those knock-on effects. They would retain their best players, they would retain the manager. So it's a sticky situation, and I don't think there's a right answer. I like mottos in life, if you like, cliches, or you want to call it. I'll go by mottos. And one motto is, what's right isn't always what's best. And that is very much applicable here, because what would be right to do, probably just cancel it. Eventually just cancel it all and start, we focus on getting the next season up and running at a reasonable time, whether it's the 1st of September or whatever. Is that what's right though? Probably not. But I think it's probably what's best. So Karren Brady, while she's getting the problem with Karren Brady is, I think this should remain confidential. There's 20 Premier League clubs going to be in this meeting on Thursday with people from the Premier League, and I think whatever those clubs say, I don't like this information coming out. I don't like knowing what club votes for what. I think that should be kept behind closed doors, because then you're not compromising yourself, but you do start to question perhaps the integrity of some clubs if they're so focused and aim. For West Ham, for example, prime example, because so far she's the only one that's opened her mouth and said that this is what West Ham want us to cancel the season if we need to. It now means if I was a Norwich fan or a Bournemouth fan, I'd be looking at Karren Brady and West Ham going, well, I bet you do, because you're not in the bottom 3. If you were in the bottom 3, would you suggest that? We don't know. There isn't a definitive answer here. Some will say she would say that, but of course some would say she's not. I can't say a guarantee, but I bet you the likes of Leicester, who are in a Champions League spot right now, Wolves, who are having a very good season, could get into Champions League. Sheffield United, who could sneak into the Europa League. These clubs will be looking at it. They won't want this season null and void. I can completely understand why. Liverpool, of course, is the big one, but there are teams like us, Norwich, the teams at the bottom, Spurs. I can understand why Spurs would want it cancelled, because you'd have to assume next season the teams that enter the Champions League are the ones that are in it this season. That is Spurs, and they're not going to qualify for Champions League this current season. So as it stands next season, they're not going to be playing in the elite competition in European football. However, this season gets null and void. There's every chance to do. It's not ideal. The 22 team League One, like I mentioned, it's a funny one, that. But then if you promote West Brom and Leeds, the likes of Brentford are going to say, hang on a minute, we could have caught them. This is not a conclusion in the Championship. We're in good nick at the minute. Them two have got shaky form. We were going to catch them, so we want to be in with a shout of getting promoted into that 22 Premier League team. So there's no obvious answer. Of course, there's also repercussions for the London Stadium. This is slightly away from West Ham. Now, West Ham's games do take priority over any other event in that stadium. So should the season get pushed all the way back into the summer, and the events that's non-footballing events, they're likely to be cancelled with our football matches taking priority in there. So we've got the baseball in there, we've got concerts in there, and it's not just us. Spurs have got activities. I know that the Killers are playing at the Emirates in the summer as well. So there is repercussions for the football stadium now. All the events are going to have to get cancelled for the football to continue, and it's not ideal for anyone. And then, of course, you've got the financial repercussions for every club. Now, this is where I think the Premier League can obviously sustain it. Most Premier League clubs can take it on the chin. However, the concern is the English Football League. The further down you go, the more clubs are going to struggle without the income. And they heavily rely on the income from their matchday revenue. The West Ham, the Premier League average for the Premier League clubs the season before last for match day income, so your retail, your catering, your individual match day tickets, your season tickets divided by 19 and stuff, is round about 13 million per season. So you divvy up by 4 because we've got 5 games left. Then all of a sudden you're looking at 3.5 million or something per club. Then of course Sky Sports are going to come into it, aren't they? They're going to say, well, hang on a minute, we're not getting to broadcast all the games that we've paid for here. I can understand why. I've cancelled my Sky Sports. This is pretty much the first thing I've done. I don't have a contract at the minute, so we're on like a monthly rolling contract. So I thought, something, I'm going to downgrade said account and save myself £25 for the next month. I've got nothing to watch on Sky Sports, unfortunately. So they're going to be feeling the financial repercussions of the consumer. They're then going to be trying to retrieve their money back from the Premier League, saying, hang on a minute, we've not got anything. I do think there is a solution there, perhaps, which the Premier League won't like, which is next season, you allow them to broadcast Saturday 3 p.m. games. I know it's not ideal, but it allows Sky and BT to fulfil their packages over 2 seasons in terms of quantity of games. They can take a 3 p.m. game each next season. I think they'd make the games up. It's not ideal, but we're not in an ideal situation here, and that would protect the money that's already in the Premier League football for these clubs. But it's the English Football League clubs I would be concerned for. I am concerned for in terms of the finances, because they're the ones that's really going to feel the impact. But there's also another funny situation here that people have to consider, and that is if this gets pushed back into the summer. Let's just say it somehow went into the first week or something of July. We were wrapping up the league then. Players' contracts come to an end. Now, I'm only going to speak about West Ham here because I don't know the situation with other players at other clubs. But West Ham, we've also got Zabaleta and Sanchez. It's not a big deal for West Ham. We can obviously get away from that. We're not too fussed. But there's other clubs that'll have bigger and more important players to them whose contract is up on the 30th of June, and then they've now lost a key player for potentially their key games. You could also question if the fixtures are then, I don't want to use the word fair, but people at the minute have to go through, you get your fixtures at the start of the season. Of course there's 1 or 2 disruptions here and there, but as a West Ham fan, we're looking at the run-in, we're looking at the end of the season. Watford at home, Villa at home in the last game. We're probably thinking, okay, we'll probably get out of this. This is prior to the coronavirus. We're looking at this a month ago after the performances at Anfield at Anfield against Southampton. We're looking at thinking, okay, the run-in now is looking good. These implications come along, and all of a sudden we could see our last 2 games of the season being Spurs away and Chelsea at home. Now, while you still fancy your chances currently at Spurs away, they would then have Harry Kane and Son back and Bergwijn. They might have all 3 of their front players back fit to play West Ham. You think, and that's where you'd think, well, hang on a minute, if we played them when we were supposed to without this virus, we'd be up against a much weaker Spurs team. And that goes for every team here. Every team would feel it. It's a messy situation, and like I said at the start, I am aware health by far takes priority over football, and at the end of the day it is just a game, and if it gets scrapped and we go again next season, so be it. But I'm here to talk about the implications for football. Obviously for the channel, you might be thinking, what are they going to do? I'm speaking about Sky Sports having, no content that's going to intrigue me for the next 3 weeks. Earlier on I had Premier League years 93, 94 or something on the telly for half an hour. I don't want to be doing that for the next 3 weeks. So you might be thinking, what's Hammers Chat going to do? Well, we've got quite a lot of content coming up. I say quite a lot, we've got a bit. We've had to sort of, we're going to have to adapt, aren't we? You're not going to be getting match previews and reviews, but we've got some stuff coming up. We were meant to do the survey results video last night, but that got knocked back because Sean, who's on Claret and Hugh, who sort of organises the survey, is not feeling great in a minute. He's in self-isolation, and therefore we didn't get the survey results in time. We've got them now, but and I'm going to end this with a little bit of good news. You may have known on Twitter, you might have seen it when Gonzo reached out 2 or 3 weeks ago now about finding his brother. He's not seen his brother for 20 years. And he put up a photo with a name. And when I say a name, I mean a first name and his dad's name and a rough area that they were from. And it obviously got a lot of traction, which is really pleasing to see. Social media at its finest. And within, I don't know, an hour, he was on the phone to his brother that he's not seen and lost contact with 2 decades ago. And today, Gonzo was meeting his brother for the first time in over 20 years. So that's a really pleasing story. Really, a little bit of feel good for you, hopefully. A little bit of positivity in what is a cloud of negativity just now. So tomorrow, myself and Gonzo will be live on the channel doing the survey results. We'll be going through the 20 questions, giving you what we thought, what we think. We'll be having a discussion, and the results are there to see. If you go to KarrenHugh.com, I'll put a link in the description as well, so you can go have a look at the results. We'll be reading the results out though if you want to wait. And we'll be recording another couple of videos to go up throughout the week. So we'll do our best. But if you've got any suggestions, if there's anything you want to see in terms of content on this channel, then you can email us, hammerschat@gmail.com. The reason I say email, because it's easier to get my attention, because sometimes I don't read all the comments, because sometimes there's people that slag you off in the comments, and why would I want to read comments? They're slagging myself off. It's not really fun, to be honest with you, and I don't want to delete them, so I'll just leave them there. So I just prefer not to read them sometimes. So if you email me, I will get it, hammerschat@gmail.com, links in the description. And yeah, that's it really. So 22 teams in the league next season. Call it off. Postpone it, and hope that eventually we can play the games. I don't know. That's what seems like the only options on the table at the minute for the Premier League. But they've got a meeting on Thursday, UEFA meeting on Tuesday about the Euros, which is going to be knocked back. So crikey, I don't think we're gonna have Premier League football for a long time. I know it's the 4th of April when it's penciled in. I'll be surprised. I think today, as we sit today, I think today's a lot better than what it will be on the 4th of April. I think it'll be worse when that time comes round. So I don't know. Personally, like I said, I would scrap European football altogether, and when they can get going again, whether it's the end of April, start of May, which is unlikely given that they believe the peak's going to be in June, I would make them play Wednesday, Saturday behind closed doors. I would not. I don't think us football fans, I'm not sure we're going to get to go to another game this season. Even if they play the remainder of the season, I don't think we will be there. I think it'll be very much just the teams and as little staff as possible just to try and get the season over and done with. But anyway, you guys let us know what you think. I do not want to know your thoughts on the coronavirus, okay? I don't want you to tell me what you think we should all stay inside and wash our hands singing happy birthday. What do you think we should do with the Premier League football calendar? That's what I want to know. Put it in the comments below. Myself and Gonzo will be back tomorrow doing the survey results and recording some other videos. And until then, be safe, be kind, and we'll see you in a bit.